Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon news update for November 4th, 2024. First off today, let's go to the church news to see what has changed for single senior missionaries. Full-time missionary opportunities for senior single members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are now expanded for both single men and single women ages 40 and older. They use the word expanded for the opportunities for both men and women to try, I think, to make them sound like they're the same. But as we go on, you're going to realize they're not. The First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 Apostles have approved changes allowing single men 40 and older to now serve full-time missions and single women the same age to have increased opportunities. You're going to have to imagine my surprise that the opportunities they offer to men and women are different. For several decades, senior single sister missionaries have been able to serve in limited assignments, while senior single men previously were not called to serve full-time missions. I do wonder why it is that they don't want senior single sisters serving missions. Effective Friday, November 1st, single men 40 and older may be called as full-time senior missionaries if they do not have dependent children living at home, but women may not be called to this position. They will be considered for a variety of assignments, including in-area and mission offices, family history, or other roles for which they have unique life or career experience, such as medical or legal responsibilities. And I think that is a big one right there. They're going to take men who are 40 or older and single, who don't have dependent children living at home, who have, say, had a legal career or a medical career, and then use their skills for free to benefit the church. Similar to most single senior sister missionaries, single senior elders will be given an individual area of responsibility and will not serve in a companionship. Once again, they're trying to make it sound like the expanded opportunities are the same, but they're not. As do senior missionary couples, single senior missionaries can serve for 6, 12, 18, or 23 months. Types of missionary assignments available for senior single women ages 40 and older are being expanded beyond current roles such as supporting local church units, advising missions on medical matters, working in family history, or serving in mission offices. Additional assignments now include responsibilities at visitor centers, historic sites, employment centers, and other roles in area and mission offices. Those seeking to serve must meet the church's requirements for health and financial support. Full-time senior missionaries typically serve 40 or more hours a week and live away from home. Bishops can initiate full-time missionary recommendations for prospective senior candidates by using the missionary recommendation system. Individuals wanting to learn more about the expanded service opportunities for full-time senior missionaries can visit seniormissionary.churchofjesuschrist.org. Now let's go to the East Idaho News, where it says, a man police say SA'd a girl between 1997 and 2004 faces multiple felony charges. John William Tonks, 66, of Pocatello, has been charged with 2 counts, court records show. Pocatello police received a call on October 27, 2021, from a woman reporting she was SA'd on multiple occasions between 1997, when she was 7 or 8 years old, and 2004, when she was 14, according to an affidavit of probable cause. The victim, now 31, has since moved out of state. She told officers she had never disclosed details about the SA previously and provided them with a 3-page handwritten statement. According to the affidavit, the victim shared vivid memories of the abuse. The first incident described in police reports happened at the victim's home when she was standing at the kitchen sink. She said Tonks approached her from behind and groped her while whispering in her ear, "Remember, this is just a hug." She said Tonks often said that. To get her to stay quiet about the events, Tonks said things like, "You wouldn't want your family to get hurt, would you?" And "You know that you deserve this, right?" The SA began when the victim was 10 and went on for several years. Attacks, the victim told police, took place at her home, Tonks' home, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints building the 2 families attended. Officers spoke with Tonks on December 13, 2021. During the interview, Tonks told the detective investigating the crime that he had friends in the Pocatello Police Department and did not believe the detective was who he said he was. He told the detective he believed he was being scammed, the affidavit says. After he made several of his own phone calls and confirmed he was being investigated, Tonks called the detective back. During the conversation, Tonks allegedly refused to come to the police department to speak with the detective, saying, "I don't know why I have to. I've done nothing wrong." He then called the detective crazy and hung up, the affidavit says. Later the same day, the detective received a phone call from Tonks' attorney who requested a copy of the victim's statement. The detective refused to provide the attorney with the statement until Tonks provided one of his own. With his attorney present, Tonks was interviewed by police. Throughout the interview, the affidavit said, Tonks was very emotional and cried. Tonks said he never assaulted the victim or threatened her or her family. He said that the accusations were meant to disparage his name and his status in his church, the affidavit says. The detective asked if Tonks would submit to a polygraph examination. He said that due to his having previously had a brain tumor, he did not want to take a polygraph. Officers spoke with two of Tonks' family members who said they were shocked by the victim's disclosures but not surprised. One of the family members described Tonks as being a violent man and creepy. The family member said she was afraid of Tonks. She said Tonks' actions would drive his own family away, but he would offer grandiose apologies, including crying, sobbing, begging for forgiveness, promising to repent, and to speak with his bishop to get them to return. Both family members described Tonks as following this cycle of behavior throughout his life. They said he portrays a righteous behavior, but is very domineering and violent. Officers served a search warrant at Tonks' home on January 26, 2023. During the search, officers seized a necktie matching the description of the one the victim reported Tonks using to restrain her during one of the attacks. Tonks' wife called 2 months after the search and requested investigators take great care in handling the ties due to their sentimental value. They were warned, she said, while Tonks served a Latter-day Saint mission 35 years before. Tonks was brought into the Pocatello Police Mobile Command Unit for interview while the search warrant was served. Once inside, Tonks asked what the search was regarding before looking at the search warrant. According to the affidavit, Tonks looked at the warrant and said he did not know what the officers were referring to regarding the claims of SA. An officer asked Tonks if he knew the victim, and he said he did. According to the affidavit, Tonks was making crying sounds as he said, "I never even touched her. I never touched the victim. Never, ever, ever." Police reports say that Tonks' eyes were not red or glassy, which typically happens when someone cries. According to floodlit.org, some of the callings that Tonks served in for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were bishopric counselor, building supervisor, other leader, and temple worker. A post on the ex-Mormon subreddit said this: "The church is doubling down and supporting him," meaning Tonks. Just yesterday, his wife got up in sacrament and said how thankful she is that he is a worthy priesthood holder, and he has been able to give her blessings of comfort to get through it all. So it appears, despite the allegations, that the church has done nothing to lessen his involvement in church meetings. And now we will go to the Post-Independent, which serves Glenwood Springs and Garfield County, Colorado, for an article that says less than a year after graduating from Rifle High School, Brooklyn Dennis will embark on her first international trip, an 18-month mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Tucumán, Argentina. "I'm actually really excited since I haven't really left the valley," Brooklyn, who lives in Silt, said. "Living here my whole life, I just want to go out and travel and see the world. I'm just glad that I get this opportunity to do that." Missionaries can be single men 18 to 25 years old, single women over the age of 19, or retired couples. And as we've read, that recently changed. It can also be single men 40 years or older. Single men who are addressed with the title elder serve for 2 years, and single women called sister serve for 18 months. A missionary's day typically begins at 6:30 a.m. with personal study. The rest of the day is spent attempting to convert others by following up on appointments, visiting homes, or meeting people in public places. They avoid entertainment, parties, and other activities young adults commonly partake in so they can focus entirely on the work of serving and of teaching others the gospel of Jesus Christ, the LDS Church states. "I don't know about most teenagers, but sometimes they don't have their lives figured out right as they graduate high school," Brooklyn said. I think it's okay to acknowledge right here that teenagers don't have to have everything figured out when they graduate from high school. Their brains aren't even fully formed yet. I feel like doing this is going to help me not only grow my relationship with God and Jesus Christ, but also help me get where I need to be. Mission trips are voluntary and expenses are paid out of pocket. I would say sometimes they're voluntary. Voluntary means that the person had a choice, and there are youth in the church who really do not have a choice, or at least don't feel like they do. There are parents who will withhold things from their children unless their child goes on a mission. And there is so much stigma around not going on a mission that many youth go just so they can still be friends with people and still feel like they fit in their congregation. Many of them have worked years and saved their entire lives to be able to go, LDS Just Serve coordinator Ansley Dennis, who is also Brooklyn's mother, said. Inspired by her grandfather who served in New Zealand and father who met her mother while on a mission trip in Colorado, Brooklyn, now 19, has wanted to go on a mission trip since she was a child. I guess this news source in Colorado didn't get the memo that the church does not like them being called mission trips for whatever reason. I remember being pretty young, sitting at the dinner table telling my parents that I wanted to go on a mission, Brooklyn said. At our church, they instill it in you. Yes, they do. If you want to, you can go do this. And sometimes, if you don't want to, you should still go do it. Because it's what righteous Mormons do. So I always thought that would be a really cool opportunity for me. Missionaries don't return home until their service is complete and can only contact family and friends by writing letters and occasionally calling. I do believe that missionaries can email nowadays, and the calls that they can make home are much more frequent than they used to be. However, when missionaries serve foreign missions, their passports and other documents that they could use to get out of the country are held at the mission home. So when this says they don't return home until their service is complete, it's often because even if they wanted to, it would be a huge process and they can't just leave. Some have compared this to human trafficking. Being away from my family for that long and not seeing them in person will be a little hard, Brooklyn said. Me and my mom have a pretty close relationship, and so I think that will be a little difficult. Prospective missionaries fill out paperwork and a series of questions about anything from their health to their interests, and the president of our church and general authorities pray individually upon each name submitted, Ansley said. I don't think that's real. They do sit and assign missionaries to different places, but they do them in large batches. They probably say a prayer at the beginning of each batch, but they don't stop and pray over each missionary and where they should be assigned to go. They seek revelation from the Lord as to where to send each youth member. Missionaries spend a short period of time at one of 17 different missionary training centers where they learn how to teach the gospel and, if necessary, the language they will be teaching in. Training centers are located all around the world, including South Korea, Chile, England, New Zealand, and Spain, with the largest in Provo, Utah. On November 14th, Brooklyn will be sent to a missionary training center in Mexico for 6 weeks to learn Spanish before departing for Argentina, where she will preach and serve in Spanish. I'll be paired with other people who do speak Spanish, so they'll kind of mentor me and teach me a little bit about it, she said. I know that if it's what God wants me to do, then He'll make it happen. While in Argentina, Brooklyn will stay in an apartment with 3 other missionaries, one of whom will work with her as her companion throughout the 18-month experience. These companions are not just a friend or someone they hang out with. They are required to be with each other 24 hours a day unless one of them is going to the bathroom. And then the other missionary has to be outside the door of the bathroom waiting for their companion to come out. For the girls and guys who are coming out, they call them greenies, and they usually get paired with someone who's older after the missionary training center. They'll get paired with someone who's had more experience, Brooklyn said. They'll kind of train them and teach them different things. As you can imagine, a lot of missionaries probably get homesick, she added, so it's like having a best friend, leaning on each other and helping each other out through the 18 months. Unless, of course, you don't get along with that companion or have anything in common with them, which happens a lot. Or you have a companion who's abusive or a predator, which also happens. Now let's look at what missionaries in Washington State are doing to try and find people to teach. They posted a flyer on a large metal pole that says, "What is the purpose of life? Looking for meaning? We can help. Adam fell that men might be, and men are that they might have joy." 2 Nephi 2:25. There are answers to knowing your personal purpose for being here on earth. We help others find their purpose and identity in Jesus Christ. Call or text us to hear a message about your purpose in life. And now today we will finish with this complaint from a woman. She said, "Why are men getting so slutty? Seen 2 men wearing shorts today and not covering their arms. Like, do you have any respect for your body? Imagine how your dad feels knowing his little boy is going around having his exposed body looked at by strange women. Save your body for your wife or girlfriend. A man is like a pearl. He is precious and needs a box to protect himself from getting scratched. Women will respect you more if you hide your knees and legs. Don't act like whores. Be gentlemen." And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.